Hi guys, this is Chrissy E from Chrissy E's podcast, Chrissy E's Daily Dose. Um, Also here with me today we have a guest. Her name is Ancient Ire. She is the owner of Ancient Ire's shop. She is a psychic tarot reader, and she's also the podcast host of. I'll let you introduce your podcast. What's the name of your podcast?
Ancient Soul Work.
Ancient Soul Work. So keep an ear out for that. Go find it, listen to it, subscribe to it, all that good stuff. And today we're going to go off of a topic that has been kind of requested. I say that in the sense that I have had questions on comments on the topic of Selena and why she is so famous and what did she do that was so big that other singers had not done, and why have they not received the credit or recognition that she's getting after her death for dying for with a lot less fame than most legendary singers such as Elvis and Michael Jackson, Prince, who were big, well-known, renowned stars, and she wasn't really known other than among the Latino population. And so why is she getting a bigger legacy? So,
Well, I know for just me and personally, when I first heard of her death, I remember I was in junior high band, and yeah, that tells you my age, right?
Yeah.
But they announced it over the speakers, and I just stood there like, who? And everybody was crying. I thought a student had died or something. I had no idea.
And the community that we grew up in, we went to the same school, and the community that we grew up in was really it was a Southern country Baptist type community, so it was really odd to hear it being announced over the intercom.
Well, and for both of us, we had just moved into this community
Yes.
as well. And I know I came from Austin and much shorter distance than you came from. But,
Yeah.
But I had never even heard of her. Yes, I've heard of her songs. Because I remember going
Prior
to junior
to,
high.
her English songs or Spanish songs?
Yeah, because I remember dancing to them at my first junior high dance.
Here in this, okay.
But I never, you know what I mean?
Knew who she was.
I didn't put the face with the music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was my first introduction, and I was amazed at why everybody was crying. I was like, what's going on?
and see, I heard of her 2 weeks prior to her death. I was at Kmart. And I was with my brother-in-law and my sister, and we were shopping, and he let us get CDs every week, and I had to pick, and they were rushing me, basically telling me to hurry up and pick, and so I came across the album cover, which was her Entra Mi Mundo cover, and it had Missing My Baby. It was an album that had Missing My Baby on it, but I just liked the way she looked. She was so beautiful to me that I just said, well, I'll take that one. I didn't even know what the music was, and luckily I ended up liking the disc, but... and then 2 weeks later, I find out she's killed. So it kind of sucked.
So it's your fault.
But, I do have a track record for that. I fell in love with Jenny 2 weeks and then she
Don't
died.
love me, please.
But, so, she's a Latina. A lot of us Latinos were proud of we kind of felt represented at that time. At that time, like Bill Clinton was in White House, and it was around that political era, that immigration, as it is now, it was an issue. Maybe not as bad, and it wasn't so much controversy around it, but it was a political issue at the time, and so politicians had said that they noticed that the outcome or the gathering of his Latin community, I don't want to say Hispanic, but the Latin community, which could be Cuban or Puerto Rican, Mexican, and they would come together, and at that time nobody was fighting, everybody was at peace. They were all there for the same purpose. They put their swords down, you could say, their guns down, and they came together to honor one woman. And so they realized the power of the Latinos at that point, and that's when they decided we have to cater to the Hispanic community.
Well, that's kind of what I want to know here. And coming from, somebody who, yes, I am Cuban. Do I speak Spanish? No. My father's Cuban, my mother's white, so yeah, I'm a half-breed. But
she recognizes more with her white side.
Yes, I do, because my father didn't, he didn't incorporate that tradition with me.
Yeah.
He didn't raise me that way. I didn't know anyone else in his family. My grandmother and grandfather had died, before I was born, and, so I was raised in predominantly, Caucasian.
Yeah, she identified as a white woman. Well, she is Caucasian woman, but yeah.
Yes, but okay. That being aside, I kind of take offense. I was watching, what was it? Fiesta de la Flor.
Mm-hmm.
We were watching the interviews, I believe.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there watching, them sit there in their round table or whatever, speaking about certain topics, and it kept coming up like Latinas, 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 or just for Latinas. Well, how is she the one who unites us if really she's dividing? If
Well,
you single it out,
yeah, yeah, I see how you.
I mean, I'm not, I'm just. It's a really true
It seems,
question.
yeah, because they tried to say that Selena represents the Latinas and the Latinas only, and if a person other than a Latina comes in, whether it be a celebrity or just someone trying to honor her, if
Right.
they're white or any other race, they are
They're
ridiculed.
horrible.
They are, yes, and they are like, oh, what do you know about being Latina? What do you know about just all that stuff? And it kind of it shortens. It's supposed to be. They call her the one that unites us, and like she said, she did make a good valid point. She's supposed to unite because she identifies she's recognized as a woman who unites us because of the whites, the different colors that would come together. Didn't even know Spanish, but they loved Selena. But yet again, Suzette, and I'm going to point this out,
Yeah.
Suzette at the conference before the Fiesta de la Flor did
She
say,
made it very. She made it a point.
yes, when Becky G tried to say she represented
Oh,
all
yeah.
women, she battled her indirectly.
Oh,
But
no, she was very direct
but she was very
about it.
clear about what. Yeah, she was trying to say, yeah, she for us Latinas, and basically, we felt that the message she was sending was Selena was only for Latinas, and that's not the case. Selena wanted to be a homegrown name. She wanted to be known in all homes internationally, and so Suzette, you do her no justice. But
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, didn't she really want to sing English only?
yeah, she actually
or
English
am
was
I
her first
mistaken
language.
there?
No, that you're correct. Her first language was English, and she was forced to speak in
She didn't
sing
even
in
speak
Spanish.
very good Spanish, right?
She sucked at her Spanish speaking, but she could sing it just like I can. I could sing it, but I can't speak it worth a shit. And so it wasn't even a language that she really wanted to claim.
Well,
You could say
in my opinion, that was, that's her father living through her, or
it was child slavery, is what I see.
That's a whole nother topic. But
Yeah.
I definitely consider that to be a form of child abuse and neglect.
Yeah.
Selfishness, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I mean, the child couldn't be a child.
Yeah, true. And the fact that she represented such a big culture and a community, and others before her had paid. They say she was the one that paved the road for us because she joined the United States and the Mexico border with music, because she was the first woman allowed to sing and lead an all male group into Mexico, and be the first woman allowed on stage and not be threatened, murdered, killed, attacked.
Well, that is an accomplishment, I guess.
And she
I mean,
and
but
it crossed the music
You can
into
also
mainstream.
do that to go to Iraq or something.
Well, that's and the music went mainstream. Tejano was
Yeah.
now a Texas genre into a international genre.
Oh yeah.
But if you think about it, she mixed a different sound,
She
which
did.
took it from being Tejano to
If her father would have allowed her
Yeah.
and Chris, I believe, would have done amazing
oh yeah,
things.
yeah.
Amazing things, mixing that rock in that.
Oh god, yeah. And her voice even had a rasp to it. That was yeah.
Right. I think it could have been amazing, but I don't think her father would have allowed
Her father was just too stuck in what was comfortable.
Los Dinos.
Yes, which he claims that he had fame before. No,
No, he
he
didn't.
did not.
He
He
had
was
no
a
fame.
failed attempt, is what it was.
And yeah, he was living vicariously through
Yeah,
her.
which unfortunately I think was the cause of her death. I know they not excluding the murder. I think that none of this would have happened the way it did if he'd just let her have a little bit more decision making in her own future, in her life,
He's
in her
a
business,
dictator.
and accepted the fact that she was the one putting bread on his table, and the fans were putting
Well,
But that's
this is my opinion, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate mail for this, and I don't really care. But because I wouldn't be me if I wasn't controversial.
Yeah.
But to me, she was a cash cow in his eyes.
Mhm.
More of a cash cow than a daughter.
Definitely, and that's why it hurt him so much.
I mean, the fact that the first thing he does is goes to Chris and gets him to sign a
Exactly.
contract, or
She wasn't
whatever.
even fresh in the ground, and,
right,
and,
and
he
that's
had
the first thing he thinks of.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
the rights and the ownership to her everything.
I mean, that's just
But
that's horrible. But anyway.
But yeah, so people ask why isn't Prince getting this recognition? Why didn't Michael Jackson? They're bigger music legends. Well, I'm gonna just say it, and we're probably gonna disagree on this. But Michael Jackson, I mean, why would he have a big legacy? Why would he be honored so much? He was accused of, not saying he did it, but he was accused of child molestation. Michael Jackson allegedly fondled children, and
I
so
don't
it's
believe
kind of
that.
hard to give him an honorable tribute.
I
when
don't believe that.
I don't
though.
believe he did it
I
either.
think he was just a very he
was a child.
He was a child himself, because just like Selena, he grew up in this industry and pushed and almost bred into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your purpose is this, and
And
this
you have no
only. You cannot
choice.
be a child. So therefore, he was mentally
Stuck in being a child.
he was stunted. In his mental growth. So therefore, I really truly don't think that he meant anything disgusting or perverse.
He didn't see it from the outside
right.
view.
And I'm sorry, I know it's a whole different
No,
topic.
that's what I wanted to talk about.
But if anybody really truly thought that Michael Jackson was doing this to their children, why the fuck would they send him?
Oh, exactly. The first time that you heard the first accusation, because there were several, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on now.
Why did they continue to go back?
Yeah.
Why would, as a parent, why would you
Exactly.
allow? It was obviously a money stunt.
Exactly.
And-
And poor Michael Jackson, I think he just fell victim of that because of his mentality, his own. He was very innocently
Naive, yeah.
just like Selena.
Yeah, and they didn't believe that a soul would
Because
was
they
out to hurt
hadn't
him.
got to experience life
Yeah.
and the corruption, the evilness that is everywhere.
Everywhere, but especially when you have money and fame
When money and fame get involved, forget it.
oh yeah, everyone loves you and everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Until you don't have it no more.
And Prince, I know Prince was a big name and a big legend and all that stuff, but I don't know why his legacy is not being honored the way it should. I believe that he should have already had several tributes to this.
Well, I know this much. As far as Prince goes, I have an Etsy shop. Just go to Etsy, Ancient Sire Etsy.
Yes.
But I make like the candles. I think you've talked about the Selena ones before. But I also made a Prince and Michael Jackson and this and that. Well, I was asked to bring Prince down because it said that Prince himself did not want.
He did not want anyone to be able to make any kind of memorabilia with his face or image or name.
That's ignorant, but whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
But at least that was Prince's wishes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Selena issue, that's a whole nother issue.
Oh God, yes.
That's greed.
And leading up to the big one, why the big whys on this one is why is Elvis not his legacy was big. His legacy still is big.
Still is big for as long
but his
as,
tributes aren't going as long. They're not his competition.
How many years have been? He died in 1977.
Yeah, it's been about a good
40-something years.
About half the time that he was dead 30 years when Selena died.
Yeah.
So, but at that point, he was still being honored, but not as much. She's still competing in the Grammys. She is still
How is she still competing in the fucking Grammys?
The albums that keep coming out.
How?
People
Please.
mixing her voice with their songs and
that's another thing I want to talk about real quick. You said something about no one else can even has a chance to get these honors. Then
yeah,
what the hell
I
is
think
the point?
I feel that a lot of artists have got angry because when they're in the same category nominated as Selena, they already know who it's going to.
That's ridiculous.
But I think
they need to put her in the Hall of Fame and let others continue their art.
Well, they feel that if she's still able to sell the record, she should still be able to get the recognition.
Well, she is getting the recognition already. She's in the fucking Hall of Fame. How much more recognition?
But
I forgot. We got to have Queen and fucking Reina.
She still sells albums.
Goddess.
She still sells albums, So Elvis doesn't sell much albums anymore.
Mother Teresa sell albums too?
Yes, but she like her Hollywood Walk of Fame star.
Yes, he does sell albums. Yes, they do.
Maybe, but they're not. They don't. The sales aren't. They don't add to the total the requirement minimal to be put on a ballot of recognition.
Well, that's ridiculous.
And so she does.
That is ridiculous.
Also, the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Out of all the celebrities on there, and there's a lot of celebrities, she's the one who had the biggest outpour of fans come out. They had to close down Vine Street. She's broken all these records. She hasn't had one record unbroken.
I don't understand.
But this stems from, we're not going to talk about her accomplishments. We're just going to talk about why she's so big and why Latinos seem, not just Latinos, but internationally, why she's still being recognized as a saint. The Vatican.
Well, that's a whole nother topic there, but yeah, we're definitely going to dive into that one.
I think that the Vatican is making her a matriarch for sanctification.
Here's my thing. There's a bigger picture here that people are not seeing, and that needs to be discussed.
Well, let's discuss it now.
Let's discuss it now.
Why is she being made a matron for sanctification? Well, they claim that the time of her death, she died on the date that determines the day that Easter will fall on. Easter was the day of her birth. At April 16, 1971, fell on an Easter Sunday, the day of the resurrection, the Lord's resurrection. She was 23 years old when she passed away.
Do you think that could possibly have been staged?
It was perfect timing, I'll tell you that. It was.
I personally, as a psychic, I do not believe in coincidence whatsoever.
I believe that
everything happens for a reason. Now, it could be fate, or it could be staged.
I believe it's a little...
Both?
Both. I think that she did have a unique she had a charismatic. It just made you drawn to her. There was something about her that made you want to be drawn to her.
It was her innocence.
You wanted to like her so much, and you did like her so much. But then also the religious side of it, she was a perfect person at that time to reflect. If you think about it, she was the one that was bringing the recognition to the political agenda at that moment.
Yeah, which is odd as well, indirectly anyway.
Yeah, she didn't realize she was not something she was trying to aim for, but she unfortunately.
And I don't think that even became a thing until way after her death, though.
They needed someone to.
They needed a face.
Yeah.
A mascot. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so they said, you know what? She's perfect. She's breaking records. She's bringing political unification without knowing it. I believe it was she has to die. So we have. We complete it's a completion of a agenda, a higher power type of thing.
Here's the thing, I'm gonna go a little bit spiritual here, on this and say, if you compare her to Jesus, okay, for example, okay, I know
perfect.
that's a big comparison there, but just stay with me for a minute, all right? No, did she spread the message of love? Well, kind of, yeah, through her music.
Yeah.
Indirectly.
And well, she kind of directly as well went and did talks about love and.
Well, yes. But did she pilgrimage or
Like, was that her target? No. Yeah.
Was that her agenda? No.
Yeah. No.
No. Did she perform miracles?
Miraculously, she.
No, well, not in that kind of a sense.
But like literal miracles.
Like literal miracles. No, not like Jesus.
No,
but,
she did not.
That's a whole other topic as well. I'll get into another time. But if you take the Bible literal, okay, instead of metaphorical. But
she did do what she was told not to do.
She was a rebel, which I believe is why she's not here with us.
Yep,
today.
she attempted to defy man. Abraham,
that's right. Well,
Abraham of all people.
Well, guess what? Jesus defied the law of the land as well, which is why he was crucified.
And she defied what Abraham had laid out as the law of his land,
or the Abrahamic traditions.
Yeah, and
religions, right?
Exactly.
Isn't that coincidental? I don't know, but she started to have a mind of her own and started to speak up and speak out against what she thought was wrong. And that ultimately, I believe, was the beginning of her demise.
Because she was then going to set
that's right.
Let people know it's okay to defy man. It's okay to defy for a woman to defy a man. It's okay for a woman to make her own way, and it's okay for all these other things. And so that was a message that didn't want to get. Her father specifically did not want the others in that group to get the idea that it was okay to defy him.
Well, that goes back to the whole, hell, this has been a struggle for women since Jesus' time.
Exactly.
Before then, even. Look at Mary Magdalene.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Man has suffocated and secluded and contained the feminine power.
Which is a lot stronger and more powerful than what people... They underestimate the power of a woman.
Well, no, I think they know exactly how powerful
and maybe
the
that's
feminine
why,
energy is, which is why they are so threatened by it.
Because they have all this power but don't represent the physical masculinity of a man, so it's confusing.
Well, and that's the thing, though. We're not any more powerful than men, except we're just as powerful in different ways.
Knowledge is a lot of times a bigger power than...
Knowledge is power.
Oh, definitely.
There is power in love. Love is the
greatest
power.
Love is the greatest. It will conquer and defeat.
That's right. It'll destroy and create. But that's, kind of...
No.
backwards, but
she is a modern day Jesus, if you think about it.
Well, they're trying to make it so.
Yeah. If you think about it, they're competitive. Their competitive demographic is very up there. It's something that you're taught to not.
But you don't question.
Exactly.
If you question like I am right now,
haters will tear you apart.
Hey, I'm a rebel, and that's what I've always been.
The only opposite thing is that when it comes to Jesus, they glorify the death.
Oh, well, do they not?
With Selena, they want to. They don't want to speak of the death. That's one thing they want to exclude, which is what causes such an uproar.
Which is why I hate crosses, because let's just carry a gun around
disgusting.
our neck.
A bathe in the blood of Jesus is
that's a whole nother topic. That's disgusting.
The monumentation they give him with Jesus' head with the thorns and the blood coming. How is that something people want in their homes?
It's grotesque. It's sick.
It's a reminder that this man had to go through this for us to be sinful, allegedly.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but to me, I'm just going to say this.
He
He
was
did not die for our sins. He
No, he
died for
didn't.
the sins of those at the bottom that had crucified him at that time.
He was saying, "Forgive the men who
are
do
doing
this to me at this time."
Yes, not their future generations and not their future offspring. No. Mm-mm.
That did not give you a hall pass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's neither here nor there. But you know, with Selena though, they are trying to they're preserving this image of her, and luckily for her, I mean, I guess if you have to die, you might as well die young and beautiful,
Yeah.
and at your peak, right?
Definitely.
I mean, that would be ideal. But you know, they have frozen her image,
her saint image, her
in
perfect,
time.
yeah.
And now I have noticed personally that today's generation of youth, they love Selena but have no idea why.
Yep, the kids
Just like
are
Jesus.
born into wearing her clothes, listening to her. You see babies wearing her little bustiers. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And if you ask a child, why do you love Selena?
Just say her sings,
Yeah,
her songs.
Right, because mom tells me to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, this is, I believe, how it happened with Jesus as well. You know, nobody know. I won't say nobody, but few people really know why do you love Jesus. Most people say, "Oh, he died for our sins."
A lot of people don't even know that there's a Jesus and God are two different
Well, yeah,
worshiping
yeah.
platforms. You could say. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was confused as a child that God and Jesus weren't the same.
Well, yeah, that's a controversial subject that a lot of the church patrons and you know, priests and whatnot, they argue about. You know, some say that they're one and the same, others say they're different. I believe that they're two different entities, but whatever. It could also be an incarnation, but that's another.
Yeah,
That's something different. But you know, but here we are with Selena and her image, okay, has been just glorified and almost worshipped.
you can't talk about it.
I mean, there are altars dedicated to Selena. There are
Tortillas.
tortillas.
We got tortillas made of Selena. You have the most murals everywhere in the world.
So if you're comparing Selena to Jesus, what does that make Abraham? Mary?
Well, I was just about to say.
Are people going to worship his balls?
Like, what, you know what? At the Selena tribute tent, they went up to the mother and they blessed her womb for giving birth
That
to.
is insane.
And you know, for Mary Magdalene, for instance, Jesus, they don't really recognize or want to recognize that relationship. That
Oh, they refuse to,
and
to
the
recognize
reason
that
is,
Jesus was married.
And the reason is because they want to see Jesus as the perfect, all-time virgin
they
man.
make him out to be a gay male.
Yeah, and Selena, they don't want
they not?
to recognize that she too could have had a desire for lust, for instance, the affair that everyone talks about.
Yeah, and
If she did do it and she had an affair, that isn't her personal life. But how does that take away from what we recognize her contributions to be? How does that change that? Why is it called staining of an image? When did that affect the political agenda? Quote unquote. All this other stuff, like,
that's exactly what it is.
So they try to put that to rest, and they try to shove that so far down. So when people like Maria Celeste comes out with the book talking about it, they don't even read it, and they're quick to blast it because it's a Selena secret.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I mean, sure. Basically, the moral of the story is that it's she's contributed. She's done a lot for the Latinos, unknowingly and she wasn't.
Personally, I don't think that if she were alive today, she would not want this type of
fanaticism.
Fanaticism, worship. I don't believe that that's what she would have wanted, because here's the thing, though, is it's not her that's getting this worship. It's Abraham that's getting this,
and Suzette.
She's just the and Suzette, because she's just the face that they use.
They're sinning in the name of Selena.
Power behind it.
They're sinning in the name of Selena.
Exactly. So if you, think about that. Jesus, really, it's the church that gets it.
Mm-hmm. So when you give your money, you're not giving your money for you're giving your money basically, especially in the monarchy days. If you want your loved one to get to heaven, pay some money to the church.
God. Oh yeah. Well, that's a whole the purgatory thing.
Yes.
The church is notorious for being corrupt, evil, and just greedy and in their own for their own well-being. It wasn't for the people, it wasn't for Jesus, it wasn't for God, it was for them and their power struggle.
Yep.
And I believe this is a power struggle.
Yeah, and
as
that's
well.
why I will not buy anything from the official Selena brand anymore, because it contribute. I mean, it's for the family. I will say that. Well, for instance,
and that does not take
Ancient
away
Ire,
from.
Ancient Ire has a beautiful collection of. You guys have got to check it
Well, I
out
did.
of candles.
I did.
They're Selena candles. Off the record, they're still for sale.
No, they're not for sale.
Off the record, wink, wink. But they are
No,
they're
Abraham, not on sale.
they're gorgeous candles, gorgeous candles.
Don't send me a cease and desist letter. I've already had 2.
And she has not just Selena. She's got her legacy collection, which has all your major legends that have passed.
Oh yeah, I got all kinds of stuff.
And not just legends, but she's got spiritual. She's got whatever whatever. Point being is she's got gorgeous collection of candles.
Thank you.
But with that being said, you purchase them and will put them up for sale, and Abraham will suddenly has
just mine, it seems.
Yes, he is. Just come. I mean, we've had him get on television talking.
Oh yeah.
Bad nonsense about us.
Good thing I couldn't understand him.
And the bad thing about it is that suddenly a person could be doing such good things, but nobody looks at it. Everyone looks at, Selena's father's mad at them, so they're bad. Let's sabotage them. Let's go. Let's the Selena fans rise against them and all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like the modern day religion.
Oh well, that's exactly what it is, and
Abraham's the pastor, the preacher.
Just call me Mary Magdalene again.
Exactly. Abraham is the preacher that
Abraham is like the Peter.
And he gives a word of Selena that what she would or would not want, and this is bad and this is good, and so, and the fans are the people that rise above and go and attack and tear it down, and all they're doing is diminishing the light.
Well, just like with Jesus Christ, and comparing the two, if you compare the two, Jesus was not innocent. I mean, he was a good man. Don't get me wrong. He had good intentions, but he was human.
Mm-hmm.
And to say that a 33-year-old male in that time era, in that where he lived in Jerusalem, and in this era, was not married with children is ludicrous. That's insane.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter was he had a wife and several concubines. And the fact that they refused to acknowledge that Mary Magdalene was a disciple.
But she was a female.
And female, exactly. She was the one who anointed his feet. That's the job of a wife, after his death, only her, Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary, were allowed, anointed his body. That is a job of intimate family. But again, that would, to say that he was married would put a whole new spin on things and say, oh my goodness, well, he wasn't divine then. He's not holy.
And they couldn't sell their religion.
Well, yeah, and that is all it is. It was a way to control the masses. Again,
and it still is very much today.
Well, that's what they're doing with Selena now. Now, if you think about this, I know I'm going a little bit off. Well, no, I'm still on topic. Yeah. Jesus, the story of Jesus, okay, has been told numerous times in other cultures way before Jesus' birth. Okay? There have been several deities, okay, quote unquote, deities, with the same exact storyline. Born December 25th to a virgin, perform miracles, crucified, and all of them being of a sun god origin. I just want to put that out there. And so Jesus' story was not a new concept. But I believe what happened was, my opinion is, what happened was after his death, after they crucified him, they realized, oh shit, he really was real.
They realized they fucked up.
They realized they fucked up. So you know what? Let's make the best out of this. Oh, guys, he died for your sins. It was a sacrifice. God sacrificed his child to you. Mm-hmm. So let's just turn this to where it looks good on us again. Because guess what? The same people that crucified him are the ones that are worshiping him. Mm-hmm. The Roman Catholics.
Yep.
So, so that's not a new concept. So what happened with the old, the old Jesus, quote unquote, the old Christ consciousness or the storyline. Well, it
faded.
it transitioned out,
and they
to Jesus.
completely they disregard and have forgotten the real story of the man.
Exactly,
And that's what we have here.
Right.
We are worshiping a woman.
It's happening again.
Yeah, we are forgetting that she was a human, that she lived a life, that she sinned, she did just as much as everybody else, and she was just as, just as human as everybody else, but her story is gone. Her life story is gone. It is completely disappeared, and we are now looking at just a woman that everyone speaks of this really sacred image and name. And so she's contributed a lot. We're going to bring this to an end, and we'll maybe do a part 2 to this. I don't know. But what do you guys think about the Selena fanaticism, the worship, and the contributions that she did and didn't do?
Yeah, I also want to throw in there that this is, I know this on a spiritual level, okay? Yes, I speak to the angels. I hear the angels. I'm on a different realm. We're tight, and I know this time to be the time of the feminine rise. The feminine divine is awakening, and is refusing to be silenced any longer. And this is another form of that, whether directly or indirectly, they understand this or not. But I believe this is part of a bigger scheme, a bigger picture, and a much, much broader.
It could be powerful, but when power's given to fallen in the wrong hands.
It depends. Yeah, exactly. And that's yet to be determined. We'll discuss that on another one.
But I do want to tell you guys on this topic that if you will keep an eye out for Ancient Ayer's YouTube channel, Ancient Ayer. It's youtube.com/Ancient Ayer. She does tarot card readings on facebook.com/Ancient Ayer. She also does live tarot readings, but she will be doing this weekend. She will be doing a reading on Selena.
Oh, well, am I?
And we've talked about it for some time, but we're gonna spring this on her last minute. This is gonna be the little push she needs, but she will be having that posted by this weekend on her YouTube, on her podcast, and on possibly her Facebook. Not sure yet.
We'll see. How it goes.
It'll be done, fans. It'll be done. So, okay, so we're gonna sign off with that. What are your opinions? Leave any comments, concerns, questions, etc. And again, this was Ancient Ayer. She was a guest on my show for today. And so with that, I'm going to sign off. And Ancient Ayer, if you want to sign off and say your ending?
To those who sleep, I awaken. I am Ancient Ayer. Let's do some soul work.
And mine is good food, good meat, good God, let's eat.
Amen.
No bird, no bush. Gotta go. Okay, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.